Welcome to another episode of Yoga Biz Camp with myself, Michael J. I am excited to have my client now, Lisa Cutts from Tucson Yoga Pod in Arizona. And on the last season, she was a guest on this podcast. And since then, she has split up from a franchise and she's hired an amazing business coach. Guess who? So we talk about our journey together. Enjoy. Welcome to another episode of Yoga Biz Camp. I have a returning special guest today, and that is Lisa from Tucson Yoga Pod. And in our first recording in the last season, a very Britishly called it Tucson. Welcome, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back. I'm just going to quickly go over your quick bio. And if you haven't listened to the first podcast episode, it was an interview with Lisa. Lisa and I didn't know each other at the time. And so it was me asking how she got started in her beautiful studio in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And it all started back in late 2017 with Brian and Lisa started planning for Lisa to retire for the second time. Not one to sit still, Lisa went back to work after 18 months of retirement once before. As a corporate executive in the enterprise software space, Lisa traveled extensively and was able to visit yoga studios all over the world. During this time, she developed a vision for the perfect yoga studio, a beautiful spa-like and welcoming environment where yoga is demystified through exceptional instructors who lead students on a journey where yoga is accessible to absolutely everyone. Fast forward to finding the perfect location, Brian started working with the architects to design a state-of-the-art studio. Excited to finally open our doors in 2020. COVID hit and delayed the grand opening until late May 2020. After a few weeks, we shut our doors with the rest of Tucson and reopened with limited capacity September 2020. It's been a wild ride.
Yes.
And here we are,
it's still wild.
2023.
Yes. We're coming up on our third anniversary.
Yeah. And folks, their space is amazing. Just a little bit about Lisa and I. So when we first met, we were introduced by our good friend Connie, the amazing web designer from Pixality Design, who did your website and a lot of your branding stuff. And so we connected, and then for the podcast, and then we met in person at Mind Body Bold with one of your staffers, Mallory. And I kind of feel like that was such a great in-person experience. We'd come out of COVID and we're all together again and learning in this environment. But I feel like the three of us had a love connection.
We did. Yes. It was so fun.
Yeah. And what's happened is I have been coaching Yoga Pod Tucson, not Tucson. And I got to say, it's been one of the most incredible experiences of my coaching career for a few reasons. And that is, you've hired me for multiple purposes and to work with multiple people. And so if we just go over briefly, I'm working with you, I would say more on leadership support.
Yes.
And then I'm working with your studio director on kind of operational stuff. And then I'm working with your marketing person on points and funnels and getting out of comfort zones and things like that.
Yes. And I have to say, it's so nice having a multi-pronged approach with you, because you see everything that's going on and you're able to see our blind spots that we're not able to see.
Thank you. Because for me, I usually work with a studio owner. So to be able to come at your business, see it from multiple points of view has been really fantastic. And I have to say, I feel like we working together, your team, there's been results. Like we've really seen results.
Oh my goodness sakes. Yes. Yeah. And they're motivated by seeing the results. So it's just been fabulous.
Yeah. So we'll go through that. But first of all, since you were last on the podcast, there's been a mega structure change to your business. You were part of a franchise. I'm going to keep this delicate because there's legal stuff here and what have you. But basically, you're part of a franchise and you have very nicely separated from the franchise to become independent. But I would say most of those experiences don't go nicely. And I feel like yours has gone quite nicely. And so now you're in a very different place. Can you talk about that kind of?
Sure. I when I went on this journey to open a yoga studio, I thought, okay, I can run a business, but I need some help on how to structure a yoga business. And YogaPod was franchising, and I went out and met them in Boulder, and fell in love with them, and they're fabulous people. And they were just getting started on their franchising journey. And so signed up with them in 2017, the end of 2017, and started with the build out, got lots of support from them with the build out and everything. And then, as we all know, COVID hit. And so at the same time, they're running their own studios and also trying to run the franchise. And
Yeah.
then when we came out on the other side of COVID, there were some things that I wanted to do with the studio, and they didn't have the infrastructure to
Right.
support. We were going beyond
Yeah.
what they were able to do. And we had a very, very friendly conversation. And I like to say it was a friendly divorce. We worked out a deal where we kept the name. I was very transparent. I said, I have no desire to rebrand because
Yeah.
the
Because
yoga,
it's not the normal, right?
right,
To keep the name.
right.
Yeah.
It wasn't known in Arizona. So it wasn't, we really made the brand in Arizona, and they
Yeah.
were very amenable to that. And they just wanted a win-win, as did I. And we worked on it. And then we went off and did our own. Now we are our own independent studio,
Yeah.
running our own programs. And it was very friendly. I still talk with them. It's, yeah, very friendly.
Yeah, that's such a nice, encouraging to know
It,
that it can be done well with
abs-
support and respect and all of that stuff.
oh, yeah, and I give them a lot of credit as well. When I went into this, I said it's important that we both feel that we got value out of this relationship.
Yeah,
So it had to be a win-win.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's a big
yeah.
congratulations, right? It's did that feel scary being solo, or did it be feel freeing?
It was scary to think about it because it was okay. I have a security blanket,
Yeah,
and then I thought, okay, oh, we'll really be on our own. But so it was scary and it was freeing. And part of it was at the same time, I engaged you, and you really helped the team say, okay, we have a we're in a new chapter now. Let's get these things defined that are unique and important to YogaPod Tucson. I don't know if you remember, one of the first things we did was redefine our mission, vision, and values.
yeah, yeah.
And
How was that process?
um,
Because I talk about that a lot, right? So how for the team?
it was good. It was a long process because you don't just sit down in a meeting and flip it out. You have to sit with it, think about what is it that you stand for, and all the words matter.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a few. That's such an interesting one because it's a few words, but they do matter because can you hire and fire based on
yes.
these things,
Mm-hmm.
and is it meaningful to you and the team? Really has to ring true.
It does. And we've been able to use this now when we make decisions about the business. Why are we doing this? Does it fall in line with our mission and what
Yeah.
we're trying to accomplish? And if not, then we
See ya.
just, yep,
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah. It's a great one for making decisions on your
it
business.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah. And
proud
it
of that
feels
one. With
good.
anybody that does a mission, visions, and values, it's one of those ones I can't really do for my clients. I can
Yeah.
guide them and point them in the direction. I can read it and see if it's true. But really, you
Mhm.
have to do the work.
Yes. And remember, it was exhausting. It was emotionally draining and exhausting. You never knew what Lisa you were going to get week to week.
So after that, I think the next thing we really looked at together was the pricing and how that works with the goals.
Yes.
Can you talk about your pricing structure pre-changing and how it changed
Yes.
and what effects
Yes.
that might have had?
Yes. So we had a 1 week intro offer. And we, Mallory and I went to Bold and we met with Michael, sat down with Michael quite a bit. And it really, it took a while for my brain to get around. And I know for people who've been in the industry a long time, it should be a no-brainer. But for me, it was hard to get my brain around a longer and more expensive intro offer.
Hmm.
But you did such a great job of explaining why. And so we increased our intro offer and then really focused on the conversions
Yeah.
there. And so we went to a 2 week intro offer and it's been phenomenal. It
Yeah.
has made a world of difference.
Can you talk a little bit about the difference between the intro off what the 1 week and the 2 week and
Yes,
makes a difference to people?
yes, we made a couple changes. And the first change was the intro offer starts as soon as you purchase it, not on your first visit, because prior you could buy a $29 intro offer and then not use it for a year and it was still valid.
Yeah. So in
But
people's mind, that could be, it's just $30.
exactly, now it's 49 and it starts when you sign up and you get we have a full on marketing campaign behind it. You mentioned Mallory, that Mallory runs, and then the team follows up on these intro offers. Everyone's assigned a day they follow up. And we were worried that also by raising the price of our unlimited membership, that would drive people away, but it hasn't, because they're able to see and experience the value that is everything in the studio during 2 weeks versus 1 week. And the front desk is also trained on, hey, how was your class? Are you signed up for your next one? What are your goals?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So there's much more connection with the new folks.
Yeah. What would you say would happen before? Like if someone just came, was there a structure to that?
There was a little, not much structure. It was a little dependent upon how busy everybody was at the front desk, whether or not they paid attention to it. We had much more structured training around it too. Like you helped us with, here are the conversations that should be happening.
Yeah.
And just really paying attention to those things.
So folks, paying attention to, because quite often people sell a pass and then that's it. But you're paying attention to, did they purchase and
Did
come?
they purchase? Did they come?
Did they purchase and not come? They purchase and come, and then there's a connection after the first visit.
Did they return? Right.
Yeah.
And so there are all those touch points. And in our system too, we keep track of all of the text messages in our CRM.
Yeah.
And so whoever comes on, say on Wednesday, knows where the Tuesday person left off because there's a record of everything.
Yeah. So let's just stop there just so people understand this, because they have a system. So there's multiple things. They use their mind body. And then there are multiple companies out there that do similar things to this, but you're working with Axel.
Correct.
So Axel is your customer relationship manager that connects to MindBody, and MindBody triggers off automations in the CRM. And what's great about these systems, and there's LoopSpark and Brandbot, there's multiple ones out there, but one of the good things about yours, it has a great to-do bucket kind of thing.
It has, yes.
Therefore, now we can set up these things like, did they come and not come? And so we've got these triggers in this where no matter who's working on the front desk that day, people can be reached at in an easy manner. Beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I would say with this, no matter what system folks use, just make sure you understand it and use it. Yeah. It takes a lot of upfront time and effort to put into it, to use it. And I found that I just didn't have the bandwidth. I selected it. I didn't have the bandwidth to implement it. And so that's why Mallory now does all of that.
Yeah. And I actually say between Mallory and Michelle, what I see in there that they are killing it at, which I see a lot of my clients failing at, and I'm trying to change that, but it is you send a great automated text message saying, hey, this is such and such from YogaPod. How was your first class? And people come back and they say, it was fantastic. It was a great experience. And then silence, like the studio doesn't reply back. And so what I see,
Yes.
great job of what your team is really doing is having conversations on there and directing people to the next class and booking them into the next class. And
They do a great job.
killing it on that. So what
Yeah.
I want listeners to know that is this can sound overwhelming if you're not doing these things, right? But it's just a step-by-step process. And these paying attention to these points, whether manual or automations, that's the game changer, right?
Exactly. And you said something there, and it can be overwhelming. And I remember you saying to me, okay, let's step back. Let's do it one step at a time. You don't have to boil the ocean. Let's just do one step at a time. Whereas I was like, rah!
Yeah.
But you helped me.
Get to your rah soon. Just while I was still on the pricing changes, that then also affected your KPIs and goals and
Yes.
shifted with us on what the goals were. And we have to say that I sent you a t-shirt that's,
oh my gosh.
What does your t-shirt say that I sent you?
My t-shirt says, I'm very proud of my t-shirt. And it says, spreadsheets are my superpower. And spreadsheets are my safe haven. I can go down deep, dark rabbit holes in my spreadsheets.
Like I'm talking, folks, spreadsheets that connect to other spreadsheets that connect to other spreadsheets, and they all talk to each other beautifully. It's beyond my capabilities. But I always say, no matter, to every studio owner I work with, I'm like, double, triple up on your superpower, hire for your weaknesses. And or hire for the areas you don't have the expertise in. And so your superpower spreadsheets, which in a pricing model and a goal model and in a leadership position, that's a great superpower.
It's been really fantastic. And you helped me harness that by saying, I remember you looked at one of my spreadsheets once and you said, and to me, it was plain as day what I was looking at. And you looked at it and said, what is this? And so that made me, and my team hadn't said that to me yet. So that made me realize, oh my goodness, I'm sending these spreadsheets without any narrative, without any explanation. And my team is just going, wow. You've helped me narrow in on how to use the spreadsheets as the superpower. Just because I'm good at them doesn't mean I was using them as a superpower.
So I think we changed the goal to more membership goal, right?
We did. We did. And we did leading indicators to memberships, which was great, which was number of intro offers sold, number of intro offers converted, as well as paying attention to the overall membership number. So that helps us with net new acquisition and retention.
Right. And there was a lot of focus on lost clients. And I think that's super important, but we have shifted to the wins.
Yes.
With the team.
So it was a subtle shift because we were focusing on loss. So we were focused on net new memberships each week. And Michael and I were having a discussion, and he said, why don't we focus on conversions? Because that's what they're really doing. So just making that little switch to focusing on what were the new memberships, how many did you actually convert, but also keeping the eye on the overall memberships, that takes into account the churn. The team just went, whoa, because they saw what all of their hard work was doing was the KPIs were a direct reflection of what they were doing.
And we'll get to roles, but it just changed the front desk, everything, because so folks, basically Lisa's got these amazing spreadsheets that go from months out projections. But what we found was that's too much for that's too much for the staff, right? Like that
Hmm.
works in your brain.
Yeah.
And it works the way your superpower works,
Yeah.
but it didn't really convert to understanding on the staff level. And
Correct.
we simplified it, and I believe it was, I'm not sure if it still is, but we were like, it was a goal of breaking it down to 5 conversions a week or something like that, that I believe was,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We broke it down to from not from to a weekly perspective. Here are the number of intro offers, and here are the number of conversions. And then we're also looking at here are the number of occupied mats,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're getting the people in the door.
And I think it makes it easier for the team to celebrate mini wins along the
Oh
way,
my gosh,
right?
yes.
It's like we're
Yeah.
on target. Like I've heard your some of your people say this attendance is down a little bit, but we're still hitting our goals, right?
Yep.
That's nice sounding.
Yes. The other thing they're doing, which has been fabulous, is they're looking at it now and they're saying, okay, our conversions were lower this week because 2 weeks ago we didn't meet our inter-offer sales goal. So
Yeah.
they're seeing the dependencies.
You have to sell a lot of intro offers to make anything work.
Yeah, so they understand the cause and effect of how everything fits together and how and what and they use the KPIs to correct course along
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. It's such a positive feeling with your team. It really is.
Oh, they're I'm so lucky. They're just
Yeah,
fabulous.
they really are.
Shout out
And
to
so are you.
Jay, Mallory, and Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah. Leadership roles. All right, we're going to get a little vulnerable here. When we first met, you were pulling your hair out a lot as far as having to deal with lots of tiny little details of your business.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's what I saw was that your time was spent, you were doing a lot of things in mind body, you're doing a lot of fixing
Hmm.
of accounts and a lot of just small things that were pulling your attention away from big picture.
Yes.
So I had a statement to you or a question. I said, are you hiding in your spreadsheets?
You did. And it was kind of an aha moment for me. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I think I am. And this is not productive.
So, folks, I think Lisa took a lot of stuff on, right? And
Mhm.
let's talk about the journey. What we've come from that, from kind of those conversations and changing the structure was the reason that you were having to deal with nitty gritty things were probably because they weren't delegated properly.
Correct. I was not being clear in delegation, and I wasn't, yeah, I was expecting people to read my mind, and that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And
So
so
we had some big stuff around this, right? And
we did. We went around this for
yeah,
a while. Yeah.
yeah. And so what we found was that the staff were all doing the leaders were all doing a fantastic job, but they weren't given clarity in what their roles were,
Yes.
which was then coming onto your shoulders. And so a lot of your time was spent doing
Hmm.
a lot of these little things. So,
Yes.
this was a big job, but
Yeah.
you went to everybody, including yourself, and said, can you document what you're working on? Can you talk about
Yes.
that a little bit?
Yes. I asked everybody, I thought, okay, given what I'm doing and what Michael's bringing to the surface for me is we have got to have, there's duplicate work going on. And so we are not efficient and there's frustration going on because I'm not being clear. So I asked everybody, document what your day looks like. And I gave them, based on their role, some buckets like leadership, systems, customer service, and where you spend your time and what you're doing. And that was including myself. And most of my stuff was hiding in spreadsheets. full disclosure. And so then taking that and saying, okay, yes, we have some duplication. And Lisa, you're doing a lot of crap you don't need to do. And so then putting out a matrix of, okay, here are the things that we need to do to make this place run and hum. And here's what needs to be done. And here's the role, what each role is responsible
Yeah.
for in each one. And the team loved it.
Yeah.
It was such,
So now she has
yeah,
a spreadsheet. Now she has spreadsheets for roles.
yes, yeah,
All the roles are in a spreadsheet and then assigned to somebody, right?
yes, yes,
So what has happened is the staff now know what their exact functions are. You've also,
yes,
through this, we've also recreated job descriptions,
yes,
had
hmm,
conversations about expectations.
yes,
So what, okay, right now, you are at the beginning of a 6 week trip away from the studio.
yes, I am.
And what did you say to your staff when you were leaving?
They said, they asked me, how often do you want to check in with us? What would you like us to report to you? I said, you got it. I am fully confident that this place is going to run without me. Unless it's burning down, I don't need to hear from you. And they were like, oh my gosh. I feel so grateful to be able to step away for 6 weeks. And I really don't have any angst
Yeah,
about it.
this is a first, right? Like that you can step
Yes,
away. Everybody knows their lane. One knows what to do. And if
yes,
someone goes down, there's a system in place and people in
yeah,
place that can step in.
yeah.
So, folks, if you're a studio owner and you don't have that in place, at least that
Hmm.
freedom, the freedom that you can take a vacation, that you can go help aging parents and all those things that are going on in life, it is possible with some work
Yeah,
into the structure. And
yeah.
your staff is in sync with what their job
Yeah,
roles are. And I just want to back up a little bit
yeah.
because one of your things was it got so much that you would go into shutdown mode and they wouldn't hear back from you,
Oh, yeah.
period. And so there was
Right.
a little bit of a cycle with that going on, and that's not existent now.
So it was, you brought it out in me. He said, what's your response time when your team, when should your team hear back from you? And I was like, I don't know. I know. And doesn't that sounds so terrible? But I was just in this survival mode. And the more that came at me, the more I shut down, and it became a vicious cycle that it just got worse. And so then you showed me one day how you block your calendar. And so
Mm.
I did that. And I said, okay, here's how I'm going to spend my days. If you don't hear from me the prior day, I'm responding during these times. And so they knew when I was going to be responding to issues, they knew when I was going to be in the studio. And it's been,
They also have a list of your responsibilities too.
oh, yes, yes, they do. They know what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
I'm accountable. Yeah.
you're accountable
And
to.
I'm accountable to them, and I will fully own it. If I did not complete what I was supposed to do, I fully own it. I don't sugarcoat it. I fully own it.
Yeah, and now
So
they're not waiting for things now.
no,
It is just, and it's not big stuff. That this is small tweaks, right, that make big
right.
differences. And so now that through that process, we have clear leadership roles, like really
Yes.
super clear. Can you
Hmm.
just go through that structure? And we've also added in a new position as well.
Right.
Go through that structure of your business. And again, I don't want people that are solo studio owners to feel overwhelmed by that because I work with studio owners that are the sole person of their business. That works too, but the structure and people in place can help. And I just want to be clear that you are at a bigger scale. Right? You're a studio like 75, 80 classes a week. It's so a studio
Hmm.
of this size needs a bigger
Hmm.
structure.
If I could back up for a moment, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, before I went into this, I had an executive coach, and she had said to me, Lisa, you will need to don't try to do everything yourself. And so I knew I had to have support. So our structure, we have our front of house team, we have our back of house team, and we have our teaching team. And then our leadership is, so front of house is front desk. We have a childcare area. So when someone comes to class, they can drop their child off. So play pod, and just taking care of the entire customer experience when they walk in the door. And there
Yeah.
are expectations there. And
So that's a studio director role. Yeah.
that's Michelle,
Yeah.
studio director. She's in charge of all of the operations. And then we have Shay, who she is our program director, and she's in charge of leading all of our teachers. We have about 40 teachers. She manages the schedule, she manages all the programs. And shout out to Shay, our 300-hour program starts in a couple weeks. So she handles all of that. So she has everything yoga. Michelle has everything business. And now we just created a marketing manager, Mallory. And Mallory is working on our marketing. And we're getting that going with Michael because we were just word of mouth
Yeah.
before.
And let's go there.
Yes. Okay.
Lisa does not want to go on camera. And it has taken me months and months of prodding her to say, I'm like, Lisa, I want you to show off your studio and show your pride. And the only reason I've been doing this because I know it's been a thing. You don't want to put yourself out there. It's not comfortable for you. And that is not just your story. Oh my goodness. So many people are the same thing. And we have this thing where we compare ourselves to everybody else online and all of this.
Yeah.
Finally, I cornered Lisa and I'm like, I want you to do a video of a walkthrough of your space. I want a video, just you showing off it. You don't have to have talking, what have you. And it took a long time. And I bullied her a little bit into saying, okay, tomorrow on Thursday, you're going to do it because you'll be at the studio. And then because I also work with other members of her team, the marketing person, Mallory, I'm like, Mallory, Lisa's coming to the studio tomorrow. Don't let her get out of this, but you have to record a video.
Yes. Yes, we did it.
It was a little face your fear project, right? And it turned out so beautifully. Such a good video. Mallory did such a good job. You did such a good job. Over the weekend, you got over 1,800 views of this reel.
It's amazing.
So many comments of love and tagging you. And it was just such a great thing. I was going through the whole weekend going, it's not all about the damn KPIs. It's not all about the goals and the damn KPIs.
Yes.
This moment is more meaningful to me than meeting the 5 people goal of the week. It was like all weekend I'm texting her 1,400 views, 1,800 views.
Yes, he did. Yes. Yes. And it did. It got me out of my comfort zone, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. And it's a great video. And I'm super proud of that. But I'm super proud of also of your team and you. It feels like it's such a lovely experience that all of us working together and again, coming from different angles. And what's it been like for you working with a coach?
It has been transformational for me because it's what you've done for me is you have put a very gentle mirror in front of me and asked me questions, and you'll say, Lisa, this is what you want to do, but you're doing this. It's been we have had phenomenal growth since I've started working with you. And it all goes back to being able to see our blind spots holistically, because you're not just hearing from me, you're hearing from Michelle and Mallory, and you're able to put the pieces together And there's no way for me to bullshit you because you talk to everybody else. And although you don't work with Shay, you've met Shay and you've heard,
Yeah.
yeah, enough about her. She's often doing other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that you guys did was brought me in to meet with the whole team.
Yes, yeah.
And so to talk about those front desk experiences and how it all comes from every angle, from the teachers and
Mhm.
sort of a mini training and get together with the whole
Yep.
team. And,
Yes.
yeah, it's and the growth is, and we'll not go into the numbers, but it's rocking. It's it's just a rocking business. And if you want to see the studio folks, go to what's your Instagram, Tucson Yoga Pod?
Yoga Pod Tucson.
Yoga Pod
Pod
Tucson.
Tucson.
Look at the walkthrough video because it's such an amazing, and you're in your bio, you said it's a spa-like
Yeah,
experience. The details of your place is just beautiful. I kind of wanted to end on a different note here, Lisa, and that is
sure.
it's Mental Health Month. And we've
Mhm.
kind of been talking about this a little bit with your team as well and what that means. And I always say that people come to yoga. We don't sell a product, we sell an experience, and we were selling really how a feeling of how to leave. Can you tell me about your reason and the change
Yeah.
made for you?
Yeah. So I had dabbled in yoga here and there throughout my life, but back in 2009, I got very sick. It was, and I ended up in ICU for a couple of weeks. I had basically worked myself sick and hadn't realized at the time the body connection
Yeah.
was real. And so after that, I said, what am I going to do? And my daughters actually took me to a yoga studio, and it was a hot yoga studio in town. And I instantly fell in love because I felt like, oh my gosh, I can do this and I feel great. And my monkey mind is slowing down. And then I started paying attention to this. And still at that point, I was still very very private about my own personal life and my work life. And then when I decided that, okay, I need to retire again, I said, what is it that I want to do? And I thought yoga changed my life, helped me slow down my mind, helped me realize I'm not alone in this journey and it's okay to have a mental illness and still be successful. They're not mutually exclusive. And so I was able in my job to travel the world and visit yoga studios around the world. And I curated what is the perfect yoga experience. And it's one where someone comes in and they immediately feel welcome. They don't have to worry about a thing. If they forgot their mat, we've got the mat. If they forgot their deodorant, we've got deodorant.
Yeah.
We have everything. And it's just a beautiful, clean, spa-like experience. So they can just focus on themselves. And it's also opened up in me the courage to talk about mental illness and how I struggled with it for so long. I was ashamed, felt I would be viewed as less than or weak. And as we have brought this studio to life, there's so many people who have come to us with similar stories.
Yeah.
And so I feel this is way outside my comfort zone to even talk about this with in such a public forum. Those close to me know I will talk about it, but I feel like I have a story to share that we don't have to hide. And just because you can't see an illness doesn't mean it's not there and it's not real.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And can you tell me that feeling that it like the I imagine, I mean, you haven't said exactly, but I imagine you had anxieties and a lot of built
Yeah.
up stress and
Yeah.
And the feeling that you left with must have been, because people come to yoga for either physical change or mental change. Don't see any
Yep.
other reason really.
Yeah, mine was, so my particular is anxiety and clinical depression. So it's that feeling of hopelessness and you're not enough and you're not going to be able to dig yourself out, but you have to put on a face and make it okay for everybody else around you.
Yeah.
And people who worked with me in the past will probably be shocked to hear that because I always had a face on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The guard.
And yeah, the guard is up. And so that was me. And I still deal with it every day. It's not something for me that goes away. So I have to manage it all the time. But finding that making people feel like they're not alone is a huge part of our community. And it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah. Don't you think
Did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely, and more. And don't you think that we're able to speak a little bit more freely since COVID?
Yeah, yes, since COVID, and it just happened to coincide with my change in career too. So yeah, people are much more aware of the importance of taking care of your mental health because it has such a huge impact on your physical health. And when I got sick back in 2009, I hadn't put those dots together.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like it just all got accumulated in you. And
it did.
Built
all
up,
kinds of
held
pressure.
in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my body just went, okay, girl, slow the heck down.
Yeah.
And I worked for a wonderful company and they were just lovely when this happened to me. They took such good care of me. But I did not share at that time what was really happening because it felt so personal.
Yeah. You're in a world now, I think, in the yoga world, and it's softer, right, than the corporate world. And I think it fits you well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. I adore you.
I adore you.
Your entire team. You're a very precious client to me. Every single Wednesday, I wake up.
Yes.
It's my longest day of the week, but I wake up super excited because I know my day is starting with you.
Yeah, I know. I get to start with you.
And so,
and can I just put a shout out to you? You don't know this is coming. Friends, if you are thinking about working with a business coach, I highly recommend it. And don't hide anything. Be transparent and let your coach see multiple areas of your business. And it sounds like Michael and I have been working together for years. It's been 6 months that we've done this entire 6 months, meeting every single week and meeting with other people on my team. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you. I'm going to be repurposing that comment on social. Yes. Get ready for a reel, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you. Where does everybody find you, Lisa?
Oh, our website's TucsonYogaPod.com. You can find us on social media, YogaPod Tucson.
That's it.
Drop by.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to be dropping by sometime. I need to go and see your studio in person.
In person, yes.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
Mwah. Bye.
I'm your host, Michael J., and I hope you found today's episode uplifting and insightful. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with 2 important calls to action that will help us continue to grow and support the yoga community. First, I invite you to book a free, no obligation chat with me through my website, yogabizcamp.com. This personalized session will allow us to address your specific challenge and develop a tailored plan to elevate your yoga studio business. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to take your business to new heights. Second, let's connect on Instagram. Follow me at YogaBizChamp to gain access to daily inspiration, valuable business tips, and behind-the-scenes insights. I'll be there to answer your questions and provide ongoing support on your journey towards success. Lastly, if you've enjoyed today's episode and found value in our discussions, I kindly request that you like and rate this podcast. Your feedback and positive reviews are crucial in helping us reach more yoga studio owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. Together, we can create a vibrant community of empowered yoga business owners where we're all making a positive impact on the world. Your support is truly appreciated. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of Yoga Biz Camp. Remember, with determination and the right strategies, you can turn your yoga studio into a thriving and fulfilling venture. Keep shining your light and inspiring others on their wellness journey. Until next time, stay motivated, stay focused, and namaste.